Thanks for joining us for today's SEJ webinar. I am Heather. I'm the VP of Marketing and Sales here at Search Engine Journal. Super excited that you've chosen to spend your time here with us. I have the awesome team from DigiCom here with me, and they're going to be talking about 2026 Google Ads Playbook and some strategies that can help you have the most profitable ad spend out there. So team, it's the first SEJ webinar. Thanks for joining us. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing great. Really excited to be here. Where is everybody dialing in from? Please leave us a note in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. So I'm hanging out in West Virginia. DigiCom team, where are you all based in?
We're all in New York.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly large group of New Yorkers working together.
Well, I hope you're all staying warm. Let us know where you're trying. Same. I feel that. Use the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. And I'm going to walk through some really quick housekeeping, and then I'm going to turn it over to this team. They're going to do a Google Ads audit. So they've got a lot of really good stuff for you. So with that, if you need closed captioning, it's the CC in the top right of your screen. Just give that a click. We do have a handout. And so, if you're looking for a deeper dive, a free audit, make sure you check out the handouts tab. They also put some case studies in there. So good for you to check out and see how other brands are having success with their paid ads. We're going to do Q&A at the end of the presentation. So if you have questions for this team, add them to the Q&A tab. We'll do our best to front load. Anything you give a little thumbs up lets us know that it's something that you're interested in. Before you leave today's call, we're going to throw a short survey at you, so stick around for that. It lets us know how today's webinar went, but then also gives you a chance to suggest any future topics that might be interesting to you. We read every single one of them, so take the time to fill that out. Lastly, one of the most important questions that we get is you will absolutely receive today's recording and the slides in your inbox once that's done buffering, so watch for that. We have little emojis at the bottom, so let the DigiCom team know how you're doing. It looks like Danielle has joined us. We've got the team. I'm done with my housekeeping. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. You got this. I'll see you at the end.
Thank you, Heather. Very excited to go through everything that we have in store today. Just wanted to start off by letting everybody know who we are. We're DigiCom. We're a no bullshit growth marketing agency. We manage hundreds of millions of dollars in ad spend, and our goal is always profitability. So we're always thinking more bottom of the funnel, prospecting. Yes, some forms of retargeting, re-engagement. Our goal, again, is to drive profitable growth for all of our partners. A little bit about who I am. My name's Hemant. I'm the founder and CEO. I've been in digital for quite some time now. I've worn many different hats, and I've spent about 15, 16 years of my career in e-commerce specifically. I'll hand it off to the team to let them introduce themselves.
Hey, everybody. Great to see you all, or not see you all. But my name is Danielle. I'm the co-founder and COO here at DigiCom. Also been in digital for quite some time, not as long as Hemant, but have a good, 8+ years of performance marketing under my belt, working with, a variety of clients that are very much focused on acquisition. So, we're excited to walk you through our audit today.
Hey, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Mike DeConstantados, co-founder and head of partnerships at DigiCom. Similar to the rest of the team, I've got going on 7 years of experience in direct, performance marketing, and a lot of experience on the Google side, which is great, and super excited to jump into it.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to jump into this and then show you everything that we work on when we work on Google Ads. I'm Jake Orenstein. I'm the director of growth here at DigiCom. And very much specialized in SEM and search, and excited to jump into things.
Amazing. I know a couple questions coming in. Just wanted to call out, partners we've helped grow. So we very much focus on the D2C and e-commerce space. That's where the majority of the businesses we work with are. It's specifically across, 8 verticals: pet, skincare, beauty, health and wellness. And we do have some partners that are not so much on the e-com space. We have some partners that have been lead gen. We've driven tremendous growth there. Also in travel, hotels, or for bookings. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is going to the strategies. You should be able to leverage them, in various different ways. It's what we're trying to do is provide these overarching strategies, and then in addition to that, call out what those strategies are specifically by showcasing how we find these details in the live audit.
Great. Well, we're going to jump into the campaigns and kind of break down each type of campaign, and then get into the audit towards the end. But the first thing we want to cover is really what everyone asks us when we first usually get started on audit. It's how do you structure your search campaigns? I think this is something that has changed a lot over the years. We used to run exact match only, SCAGs, for those who know what that is, single keyword ad groups. We've definitely moved a lot in the last year on transitioning to a more modern approach with the implementations across Google Ads now, with a lot better performance from Broad Match and AI Max, and really using search as a testing ground to then expand into Performance Max and other campaigns. So our core strategy usually involves these 3 pillars here, with the first one being brand and product defense. We want to make sure that we're covering our brand search terms as well as our product names if they have different than our brand terms. What we do here is we use a target ROAS or target CPA bid strategy. We're focused on usually a portfolio bid strategy. For those of you who don't know, it's a little bit different because you're able to set a max CPC bid cap. This is crucial for brand search. The most important thing with brand, besides covering it, is making sure that you're not paying too much for each click. If people are searching for your brand name, you want to make sure you serve to them, but you want to make sure that you're not paying $4, $5, $6, sometimes I've seen $15 per click on someone who's already going to buy your product either way. So we want to set a max CPC cap, usually around $3 or below, and then adjust how much coverage we want based on our target ROAS, target CPA. Brand should be by far your most efficient campaign, and you want to make sure that you're focusing on that. Recently, we've been testing into the new space of running potential broad match with brand inclusions. This is great for brands that have some close brand terms that maybe they don't want to necessarily target explicitly with exact match, but want to allow the algorithm to find similar terms to their brand name. This does bring in some non-brand terms, so you want to make sure that you have your negative keywords set up. But it's definitely a space that if you have a brand with a lot of similar close brand related terms, you get some coverage on those as well. The next step up, the next tier here is the non-brand precision campaign. Again, this should just be one campaign, exact match keywords here. And instead of using the old method of SCAGs or single keyword ad groups, we've now moved into STAGs, which is more single themed ad groups. So the idea here is that we want to separate ad groups by the type of language you want to use in the ad copy and the landing pages we want them to drive people to. If we're driving to the same landing page and our ad copy can speak to all the keywords in these ad groups, then we're good with grouping them together. If we need to break out to a different landing page, if we need to diversify our copy because we're targeting a different intent user or a different product the user is searching for, we then need to break out the ad groups a bit further. In these campaigns, we want to have negative keywords blocking out of brand terms to really separate brand and non-brand, as they will have very different results and very different target ROAS and target CPA. And the goal of this campaign is twofold. You first want to make sure you're giving signal integrity. What we mean by that is this campaign feeds the rest of your account by showing the algorithm what are the search terms that are converting for you. These should be your most effective keywords. They should deliver the most efficient results. You want to maximize coverage of these non-brand keywords. And when I say most efficient, I mean most efficient of non-brand. Having a lot of conversion volume among these non-brand keywords will help the algorithm learn and make your PMax campaigns better, Performance Max that is, and as well as your other non-brand scaling campaigns better, because you're giving it a lot of signal integrity and telling it, hey, these are the core keywords for me. The other use of this campaign is really testing copy and landing pages. As we know that these are the exact keywords that are going to do best for us, we can then use that knowledge to say, what's the best copy for us? Let's test 2 ads per ad group, rotate through testing. Once we've proven a winner or a loser, pause the loser, test more copy. We want to always be testing. This can also be seasonality. If you're a big gifting brand during Q4, you need to be using gifting terminology and gifting copy in there. If you're a Valentine's Day brand right now and you're going to be something that people are going to be gifting for Valentine's Day, you need to be running with Valentine's Day copy. So cycling in these copy tests is crucial here. And also landing pages. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about landing pages on the next slide as well. But this is one of the most important pieces that I think a lot of SEM and PPC directors miss, is that landing page is crucial for a successful search campaign. So we'll dive more into that here or in the next slide. But landing pages are definitely where we want to test in the precision campaigns. The last category of campaigns here is what we call non-brand scaling. And this is where we get into broad match and the new AI Max, which we've been testing more and more into. And it's definitely developed into a much more successful item or tool that Google has rolled out. And at first, we were a little bit skeptical. It was a little bit sporadic, but we've definitely seen more intent from it. The idea behind AI Max is that instead of being narrowed down to specific keywords or specific search terms, the algorithm has a lot more flexibility with AI Max to basically serve your ad based off of user intent. So it's going to find people that are searching, that it feels are searching for your product, whether they are typing in your exact keywords or not. What this allows us to do is serve the right ad at the right time to the right person. So we want that flexibility. However, we want to make sure we have strict negative keywords in place so we don't serve to terms or keywords that we don't want to deliver to. We also want to exclude our brand and non-brand precision keywords so we don't have overlap in the account. But we still want to deliver that STAGS style format so that we have some control over the ad copy and the landing page. The point of this campaign is discovery and scale. And now when I say scale, it's both traffic scale as well as conversion scale. These will not be your most efficient campaigns, but they will help you drive volume because there's only so much volume you can drive from the exact match precision campaigns. They also drive traffic. And now you should get cheaper traffic from some of these broad match terms because, again, we're allowing the algorithm a lot of flexibility. So it will deliver a lot of cheap clicks and be able to drive hopefully high intent users to your website that even if they don't convert on that first click, they'll come back through your other campaigns. Performance Max does a lot of retargeting, as well as hopefully your meta campaigns, your paid social campaigns, and other campaigns. And that's the primary goal from this. So those are the three core pillars that we build our search campaign account on. And from there, we want to expand outwards with shopping and Performance Max and demand gen. I said I was going to talk about landing pages. And really, when we're thinking about landing pages, we want to optimize for intent. This is, I think, something that a lot of marketers miss here, especially with search ads, is that the landing page is basically your ad. If you think about a search listing and how it shows up, yes, some of them are starting to get images. Google sometimes shows your ad with a simple image, but really your ad is just a headline, maybe two, and a description, maybe two descriptions. And that's it. That's all you get in that placement. And so the key piece here is that after they click on your ad, on your search ad, you need to deliver a message that's going to convert a user, especially when it comes from non-brand ads or non-brand keywords, because these users are higher up in the funnel. They're less likely to already know your brand. You need to convince them to make the sale. So when we're looking at how we segment these different landing pages, we want to segment brand search to be a direct to buy landing page. So typically this is a PDP, a product description page, or an offer page. If we're approaching a big offer, we can drive people directly to the offer page. If someone's looking for a brand, they're probably immediately looking to buy. We want to get them to that buy page and with a big CTA right away. If they are a non-brand search, we want to develop multiple landing pages that can, first of all, meet their search where they're at. If they're looking for a search terms that's like the best in this category product, we want to make sure we're serving them a comparison landing page. If they're looking for how does this product work, we want to make sure we deliver a landing page that meets that query. The way to do that is develop a lot of listicles, tutorials, educational pages. Definitely focus on including expert validation, social proof, competitor comparison, and then a really strong CTA or offer. You're trying to move this person from the top of the funnel all the way to the purchase as quickly as possible and educate them along the way to make them a better customer. This you very much should think about like you're running a Facebook or paid social ad. You really want to use the creative on the landing page to make the sale post-click. And this is what we do for all of our clients. We design landing pages that we are trying to get conversions from non-brand search terms because it's always the hardest space for marketers to work in. And again, testing is key here. We test a lot of pages. This is what that non-brand precision campaign is. focused on. And so we want to make sure we're driving as much traffic from that campaign to the website, testing a variety of landing pages to find the winners, and then iterating off of those winners. Mikey, I can pass to you to go through Performance Max.
Sweet. Thank you, Jake. Into Performance Max, right? So anyone not familiar with PMax or not using the campaign structure too much, it's an all-in-one campaign, right? It targets search, shopping, YouTube, display, discovery, even jumps into Gmail and Google Maps as well. Less frequent, but they do. What's great about this campaign is it gives you the ability to target users across their entire journey on Google. So Jake made a great point for our non-brand campaigns. We are going out and finding those and meeting those users with the intent that's there for them to purchase. But also they can be retargeted in other capacities through Performance Max. It doesn't mean Performance Max is only for retargeting. It just does a great job of doing that because it uses all of the different placements that it has to find those users. And then the last note here is essentially about the different placements, right? For many of us, YouTube and display for ROAS targeted ecom brands might not be the most popular placement for us, but we do still take up some of the market share there when using the Performance Max campaign, and it's going to try to get the most effective return within that particular placement as it can. And then understanding, right, the targeting capabilities, which if you know Performance Max, you understand that it's extremely limited. Why? Because it's AI driven. It's a machine learning that relies on Google's algorithm and all of its data to find customers across its ecosystem. We don't truly have the capability to say that we want one particular set of audience members to go in, be targeted with these ads. That same way that we do have on, let's say Meta, for example, because there are similar creative styles. We can obviously add in video, we can add in static to our asset groups, headlines, descriptions, and create ads in a similar fashion, but our targeting is a little bit more limited. So in terms of targeting, we use audience signals. It's not limiting the targeting, but it's providing direction. And as the years have gone on since Performance Max was developed as a campaign that took over smart shopping, we've actually been able to get a couple of more solutions that have been added. We're seeing customer list, which is in a beta testing right now. Brand list has been around for a while. Gender, age, and devices are all relatively new. If this isn't something you're seeing in your account, contact your Google rep, tell them they want to be on, you want these features within your account, you want to be on the beta testing. Already starting to see the customer list really work and allow us to mostly prospect and scale within this campaign style. And then I spoke about a little bit about the assets. Like there's a lot of creative testing for a Google campaign style, right? There's multiple different asset formats that we could be testing. You're testing different landing pages. You're testing different creative videos, statics with product and lifestyle, just product, with text, without text. There's so many different variables that you can be testing within a Performance Max campaign that allows you to get the best performing combination. And another beta that's out there, and if it's not in your account, go and ask your Google rep, is for experiments specifically around the video and image placements of Performance Max. I believe the new beta is going to allow you to just do a specific A/B test on one of those variables within your asset groups to get a true understanding of the performance and the and how that test really is affecting the overall campaign. Currently, if you're running a test, it's more just an eye test, and you have to look at asset groups against each other. But this will be a true A/B experiment test that will be featured in. Cool. And lastly, around Performance Max, we all know that there's a ton of restrictions in terms of the insights. Yes, there's a new beta that allows you to see channel performance, but they clump together just shopping and all of the other placements together in terms of when we're showing products and not showing products. So it's not really a great indication of how you're performing across your campaign, but we do have a way around this. And I'll show an example in a second, but we call it our Performance Max script. And these are all of the benefits of using this particular script that we have. You're going to look at account level performance, as well as campaign performance by each individual placement. So search, shopping, display, all of those placements we recently spoke about. You're looking at non-brand performance versus branded, and for almost 90% of our e-com brands that we're working with, maybe even 99, new customer performance is so important. So we want to go after those non-brand searches, and Performance Max doesn't always provide you the easiest way to find out if we're doing that. Account/campaign level search categories, search themes, search term categories, top video assets in the account or each individual campaign, headlines and descriptions in the accounts that are working well for Performance Max campaigns, which placements are driving spend and conversions and revenue by each individual campaign as well as the account, the percentage of non-brand search and branded search and sales for those particular categories by campaign, our search categories that are driving sales by campaign, as well as profitability of each individual product that you are testing in your Performance Max campaigns. We're able to implement benchmarks to understand that if a 2 ROAS is break even for us, we understand what products are above that, what products are below that, and how to optimize and how to develop the next asset group that's targeting those products that are above a 2x, and create assets, videos, images, headlines, descriptions all around those trains. Here is a screenshot example of some of the data that we're pulling from the script. So in the top portion here, you can see that majority of our spend is coming from shopping. And with that, we are seeing that majority of our impressions, clicks, conversions, and value are also coming from non-brand. So what we're understanding is that when we're showing up within the shopping placement, we are seeing majority non-brand performance, which is great. And on the bottom, a different Performance Max campaign that we pulled data on is showing that majority of our impressions, clicks, conversions, and revenue are actually coming from a brand and close brand variant. So let's say, our brand is Nike and the search terms are Nike shoes. That would be a close brand variant. So essentially just branded. And that is coming when we are optimizing, or the placement is mostly search, right? With a little bit of YouTube and display. So this information that we're seeing here is allowing us to then make optimizations based off of the data. So within the Google platform, you're unable to see that the majority of, you might have a similar ROAS between these two campaigns, and not truly understanding that one is driving mostly branded conversions on the bottom and one is driving all of non-brand conversions on the top. So if our main goal is non-brand conversions, then the script allows us to make optimizations off of this bottom campaign. So the optimizations may be applying an exclusion on the brand list, which we didn't apply to start, either bidding higher for a new customer or bidding only for new customers, whichever optimization is more effective for your account. And then we can also add in search terms individually. We can't add in negative keyword lists just yet. Hopefully it's a feature they add, but you can add in individual negative search terms to eliminate, this non-brand, eliminate mostly coming in to focus on non-brand. And then we can take a look back at our placement to understand, okay, we're probably now going to move more towards shopping. I need to optimize my shopping placements. So, and I need to optimize my characters that we have in Google Merchant Center, which we'll actually dive into how to make optimizations there as well. Cool. So why are we still using standard shopping, right? Standard shopping is one of the oldest campaigns that are still around, that are performing actually really well for us. Probably wondering, if PMax took over smart shopping, why would standard shopping still be something we want to use? So let's dive into placement first, right? So first off, from the other data that we just found, and something I've seen historically across our accounts, if a Performance Max campaign shows up in the shopping placement, it's typically going after new customers. And new customer acquisition is extremely important for the majority of the e-commerce brands that we are working with, if not all. But being in that placement, right, there's a high visual impact, which Google search does not have, right? It's displaying the product name, the price, the brand name. And if we're getting someone to click on that particular ad, that means that they are qualified. So it kind of dives into our second point, that's qualified traffic. They're able to see how much is the cost. They're seeing what the product is. And if they're further willing to click and learn more, then the intent is definitely very high. And then you can actually get those users to convert, maybe in a display placement through Performance Max. In terms of the settings, there are limitations in PMax that we do not have in standard shopping. So, and for even search and other campaign styles. So simplified management, you don't need to put in, hundreds of thousands of different keywords to try to find what is going to work for you. Google's going to do that for you. It has a ton of data. So just you're allowing Google to essentially find those search terms for you based off of your description and your headline and your website. And it's going to do that for you a pretty good job. And you're not going to have to test through a ton of keywords to find, those people who are going to convert. You're able to prioritize particular product groups, and then you're able to either increase or decrease bids on those particular groups. So let's say you have a shopping campaign, and within that shopping campaign, you have an ad group that's low AOV products. You have an ad group that's high AOV products. Maybe your high AOV products are driving a weaker ROAS because your CPA is very high than your low AOV products. I can increase or decrease my target. I can decrease my target ROAS to allow more spend to the low AOV product, which you aren't able to do via asset groups and Performance Max. And then targeting, something to note, I'm not sure if everyone knows this, there's two different targeting settings when it comes to locations. One, the default is to set people who are interested in your location or in the location, and the not default, which we usually apply, is to target those users who are only in that location. If you're someone in France who's looking to make a let's say trip to New York, and you're looking up different search queries around New York, you may be getting ads that are not warranted for you. So we want to make sure we're targeting people in your location. And then lastly, looking at transparency and precision, we can add in whole negative keyword lists here. And at the campaign level, which you're not able to do within Performance Max, you can add a campaign priority. For us, we're running multiple shopping campaigns across one account. So the recommendation is you have one shopping campaign, you keep it as low. But for us, we have some where we have zombie products, top products, seasonal products. We can actually adjust priorities to tell the algorithm what to focus spend on and traffic, which helps us improve overall performance. We can also set manual bids if we want to ensure that we're not bidding over a particular CPC. We can do that. Especially on some low margin products that we know we need to be the most efficient at. And then in terms of placement, again, if you're an e-commerce brand, you need to be competitive against your competitors. And the shopping placement allows you to do that, showing your product, showing your price. And then even some types of promotions can be right there in front of their face in terms of like a 20% off deal. You can have a strike right there within that particular placement. Okay. Told you I'd speak a little about Google Merchant Center, and this is pretty important, and it's your naming, right? Google gives you 150 characters for your shopping listing. We should be using all 150. We want to maximize our keyword coverage and search term coverage. So the more characters we have, the more opportunity that we can show up within some relevant search terms, and the algorithm can pick us up to ensure that our product, to improve like our search impression share of a particular product. Google also is prioritizing those titles with strong keyword relevance. As you can see, some of these examples, we have the product name, as well as the benefits of each individual product. And what we're seeing with titles that are completely filled out, such as these in the example, are improvements in our overall click-through rates because users know what they're clicking to before they even get to the landing page. It also allows us to get stronger conversion rates. Again, the intent of the click is going to be stronger. And then also we're ensuring with these richer titles that we are showing up for more relevant queries and not irrelevant low intent ones. If Without the certain keywords, the algorithm might be pushing us to areas where it believes we have the ability to convert, but it's not actually the best customer for us. But with these titles that are more optimized, we have the algorithm has a better understanding of who our target customer is to make that conversion. Sweet. Okay, let's talk a little bit about YouTube and demand gen, right? People like to say that Google is a middle to bottom of the funnel play, right? Because it's mostly based off of intent of the users, but it's not always the case. Within demand gen, we found the ability to truly scale and build top of the funnel awareness, drive sales as well, right? The goal is still to drive revenue, but also we have a ability to kind of trickle down to the lower of the funnel, to your performance max, to your branded search campaign. So let's kind of dive into why it works. Just like Meta, it's a multi-format creative system. You can mix and match images, high impact videos, especially, taking top creatives from Meta and just implementing them into YouTube to start to gain some learnings. Of course, the users are not identical. So the hooks that work on Meta might not work on YouTube, but they're not too far off, right? And the creative styles can be pretty similar. So the lift there can be easy for your team. In terms of targeting, something you cannot do in Performance Max that you can do, which is more upper funnel, is lookalike segments. So it's the only campaign on Google that allows you to create those lookalike segments based off of first-party data. So anyone who's visited your website, converted, and that's going to help you find users that are similar to the users you currently already have. This also integrates directly into your product feed, essentially allowing you to create what we would call like a virtual storefront. So it can have the video, and underneath the video are the products that you can make a purchase. And for anyone that's not familiar, it's like collection style ad on Meta. It's very similar to that. Now, for anyone that's running a ton of paid search and just Google in general, probably feel like you hit a plateau at some point where you cannot break through the demand that is looking for you in terms of search and shopping. But this allows you to do that. You're breaking through audience. This isn't a click-based campaign, right? This is based off of providing people targets people based off of impressions. So just like Meta, where you're not looking for a product, but it's shown up in front of you, the same is occurring here with YouTube, and allows you to scale past that plateau you might be feeling from search and shopping. And it also is going to help you break through the plateau by warming up the lower of the funnel, right? And getting those users to convert later within a Performance Max and a search ad campaign. So just because you don't get that first conversion in demand gen, you might still be getting that conversion within your other campaign styles, such as Performance Max and search. And unlike Performance Max, it's not a black box, right? You're understanding which creative spent this much, what that creative did in terms of performance, and then you can actually optimize off of that. Within Performance Max, it's very difficult unless you're using the script to truly see what the performance is from each asset that you're testing. While in Demand Gen, you actually have the ability to do that.
Cool. Just before we jump into the audit portion, if anybody out there is looking for help scaling your paid media channels, please feel free to reach out to us. DigiCom.io. You can scan the QR code. These audits take us about 10 to 12 hours to put together. We audit both Meta and Google. We break down CRO. The goal for us very much is to provide, a go forward strategy on how you can scale your program. And then just the next thing that I wanted to call out really quickly is in terms of how we operate as an agency. We have one service. It's called Growth Acceleration. We always audit our partners before signing any contracts. That's very important because we need to understand what your goals are and give you a go forward plan. Once we align on the go forward plan through the audit, then after that, we take over the ad accounts. We provide, conversion rate optimization, landing page designs, creative and copy support. And then ultimately we go out and buy the media across all of the ad platforms.
We can jump into the audit that we ran and just give a few examples. We did, of course, black out some of the data so that we don't show private information of any potential client or anyone we audit. So we did cover up some of the key pieces that might identify the brand or partner. But I think it gives a great example of some of the things we look for. When we're going through an audit, it's usually 15 slides, 15 points that we check on. All within each of these, there's multiple areas that we look for. I think the number one thing overall that we're looking for is opportunities for scale, opportunities for growth, where you're being efficient and you have the chance to spend more at that efficiency, or the reverse, which is wasted ad spend, which is usually what we find the most of, is a lot of wasted ad spend that never had a chance to be successful, or people believe is being successful, but the data is not accurate, or worst of all, that they're just spending it on keywords that are never converting and it's just money going down the drain. So these are the 15 areas. We start with looking at your attribution settings. Are you tracking what you want to be tracking? Is the results you're seeing, the conversions you're seeing accurate? You'd be surprised how often this is not the case. Account structure, as I mentioned at the beginning, making sure that you have account structure that makes sense, that you're building on something that is not just a bunch of random campaigns. They play off of each other and don't compete with each other. Account organization and making sure that the information that you're producing is actually valuable to you and that you're able to review it quickly and make adjustments and optimizations easily. Keyword data, search term data, just so everyone knows the difference between these two. Keywords are what we use for targeting. That's what we tell Google, hey, we want to target this keyword. But search term data is actually what are people searching when they find my ads. And the easiest way to explain it is that if you're running a broad match keyword, you're going to have a lot of different search terms resulting from that keyword. If you run exact match, it's a much narrower scope for search terms. And you need to evaluate both of these because we target through keywords, but we actually serve to search terms. Match type analysis. Are we spending our budget on the right match types? Exact, phrase, broad match. AI max now I would also consider in this category. Are we seeing the returns we want to see from these different match types? Overspending in one category. Our negative keyword settings. Do we have negative keywords in place? Are we excluding our brand terms from our non-brand campaigns? Are we excluding inappropriate keywords that don't make sense for a brand? A lot of the times for brands, they serve to things like careers in their brand or something like that. That is just not going to drive sales. And now you're wasting money on an irrelevant keyword or search term. The ad quality and the settings among the ads. The campaign settings, are we set up properly? Are we doing the proper audience testing? Mike ran through this on Performance Max. That's really the area where we focus most on audience, but also demand gen, even some search settings. We want to make sure we're targeting the right audiences. Performance Max asset group segmentation and targeting. Have we broken out our Performance Max campaigns into the proper asset groups? Are we running different audience testing, different creative testing? And then what are we targeting with these Performance Max campaigns? We want to analyze all of that. Performance Max creative analysis. Again, have we looked at the data that our Performance Max campaigns are producing and have we removed inefficient images and videos and copy, and have we tested new images, videos, and copy? It's again, just like paid social, we want to make sure we're constantly iterating and optimizing on these campaigns. Shopping feed setup and product analysis, making sure that we have the best setup possible for these placements and are delivering the most efficient conversions from shopping. Ad extensions, also now they're commonly referred to as assets within the account, making sure we're using all of these. These increase our real estate on the search engine results page. We want to make sure we're using promotions when we have a promotion running. We're showing the price when we can show the price. We're showing images when we show an image, all of those different features. And then lastly, demand gen and YouTube opportunities. If the person we're auditing is running demand gen or YouTube, we will take a look and provide information on how they can improve this, expand it, scale it. Or if they're not running these, we can let them know, hey, this is how we would recommend getting live with demand gen YouTube, which most of the brands we work with, we want to start running if possible, because that top of the funnel is something that's missing. YouTube is one of the largest networks on the internet. If you're not running something in YouTube, you're typically missing out on top of the funnel awareness. But also demand gen covers Gmail, one of the most actionable listings within Google. It also covers Google Discovery, as it used to be called, but as well as display. We want to make sure that we're remarketing to people through all of those placements as well. Here are just some examples of what we catch. This is just looking at an attribution settings within a pixel. The default settings for a lot of accounts is 90 days click. We always want to shrink this down. 90-day click-through conversion window is just too long of a window unless you're selling a really high AOV product. If your product is a couple $1,000s, maybe the customer journey takes 90 days. Even then, I'd be skeptical. We typically shrink this to 30 days. This is the information not just that you're going to use in reporting, where this would inflate your overall data if it's on 90 days, but it's also what the algorithm is using to optimize. And if you're telling the algorithm that, hey, you can look back 90 days, well, then the most recent data is just as relevant as the previous month and the month before that. And that's not always the case with a lot of brands. So we want to shrink this to 30 days. And then the view window is really important, especially when you're running demand gen or performance max. Engaged view, we usually set to 3 days. View through, we usually set to 1 day. We don't want to overinflate the data in the account. It's always good to have data, but we don't want to rig it in a way that is going to make us look like we're getting a lot more purchases than we are, because then the algorithm's going to think it's doing great and continue to spend money when maybe it's not that efficient in the actual back end. This is another thing we catch very often. I know this is small, so I apologize for that. I'm going to try to draw on this if I can. We'll see if it works. But we see a lot of brands where they have other settings set up where they're tracking things other than purchases, and they are counting for conversions and conversion values. So for example, this brand underneath the conversions, you can see that they have 1 from other, 4 from purchases, 347 page views, and 38 add to carts. All of this is counting as a conversion for them. So not only is the algorithm optimizing to all these events, even page view, but it's also optimizing, but it's also saying that a purchase is just as valuable as a page view, which clearly is not the case for any brand working like this. We want to make sure that our conversions are only tracking purchases. Now, there might be other examples if you're a lead company or something like that, where you go a little bit higher up the funnel. If you're doing demand gen, maybe you drive to a lead form, or maybe you drive to an add to cart, but you definitely should not have page views and all these other settings in place. The other thing over here is they're also setting for conversion value, which I think is really important. That make sure that an add to cart where someone has added $100 to their cart is not the same as you getting $100 in revenue from that person. And therefore, we want to make sure that we're not including that in our conversion value. The way to do that is to make sure that we don't check everything as a primary conversion event. Only the event we want to track in our attribution settings is tracked as primary. The other thing in here, and this is looking at performance max, also demand gen, this comes up, but even with our ad settings in search, make sure your ad strength is excellent. You can see here, this example, it's only set right now to average over here. It tells you exactly how to fix these things. You can see it here, add 1 more horizontal image to reach excellent ad strength, add a square video to reach excellent ad strength. It will always tell you how to fix this. And you should be running at excellent on ad strength across all of your ads. It's going to give the algorithm what it wants to serve your ad at a cheaper CPM and a cheaper cost per click down the road. It also, the one exception I would say is if you're running what some people do, which is a feed-only PMAX campaign, basically to push shopping in a different way. Don't always recommend it. Some brands it works out for, some not so much. But that would be the only exception. Everything else should be at excellent. And you can make videos within the Google Ads platform to get more videos. You can also come up with images through ChatGPT, through AI. It doesn't need to be the perfect image, but having an image is better than not having an image. As far as search terms and keywords, we look at both of these. We look through keywords, we look through search terms. You want to dive in here and look at how much money is wasted. So we pulled together and looked at this audit and looked at low quality score keywords. We consider that anything at 5 or below. And there's a setting within Google Ads that will show you the quality score of each keyword. If it's at 5 or below, you need to try to work on improving that, because you're going to have a higher cost per click. That's going to result in a higher ROAS and a higher CPA. And you're going to lose a lot more auctions than you're going to win. In this account, we looked at the last 6 months. We saw $62,000 was wasted on keywords with a 5 or below quality score. just to prove out that that was wasted ad spend. The ROAS on those was just 0.56, and the CPA was $237 versus the account average, which had almost a 4 ROAS and a $32 CPA. This account was just throwing money away on these low quality score keywords. We provided 2 examples. One of them had spent almost $20,000, again, with just a 3 out of 10 quality score. You improve quality score by improving the copy in your ad and by segmenting your campaign properly with the right targeting, the right structure, and with a landing page. Landing page is a huge part of this, making sure your landing page not only has relevant content on it, but also loads quickly. The other thing I mentioned previously was the match type analysis. Now we're looking even more into AI max as well. But for this audit, we just looked at exact match, phrase match, and broad match. You can see that they're spending $30,000 on broad match and only driving a 0.7 ROAS versus really strong performance from exact match. They're doing too much testing in broad match here. They need to remove some of these broad match keywords, limit the spend a bit more, and make sure that they have more concentrated into exact match. Because if you're driving this high of a ROAS, there's room to scale. Again, waste versus opportunity. This is, again, just looking at search terms. This was within shopping. On the left side, we've highlighted a few, and I know it's really small, but a few that are getting high spend, like $800 in here, but it only driving a 0.48 ROAS. Again, we want to exclude search terms that are not working for us. Remove them. Don't think about them again. If they're not working for you and and you've tested them sufficiently, you want to remove them. And then the right side here is the opposite. But we're not spending enough on these search terms. We need to make sure we're driving up spend because our cost per conversion is under $20. Our ROAS is above a 3, but we've only spent $60 on the highest one on this right side in the green. So need to spend more on those search terms. Product listings within shopping. Make sure you don't have anything that's either limited by performance, missing something within the shopping listing, or has an unavailable desktop landing page like this one does here. Or failed because of misleading health claims. Reach out to a Google contact if you can't figure out why you're being rejected. They may be slow, but they can get you a solution within 3 to 7 days typically. So I would work with them on figuring out why you would have a misleading health claim. Again, landing page improvements, just wrong landing pages or landing pages that aren't working. Want to improve those. Looking at performance max, making sure that asset groups are segmented properly. We're targeting one product within each asset group. We're delivering those asset groups to the right audience. We're testing creative. We're testing landing pages. Nothing's disapproved. All of that, very important. And then again, when we're looking at our product feed, again, there's not much you can see in here because we don't want to give away who this client or potential client was. But we look at both the breakout of the campaigns. Are we segmenting our campaigns properly? And then the keywords within the product titles. We mentioned that previously. Mike mentioned it as well. But we have 150 characters to use. We need to make sure we're using those effectively with a lot of keywords within that title, so it's displaying properly. The number one recommendation I would have here is search the keywords that you think should convert for your product, see what other people are doing, and use that as a reference point. A lot of competitors might be doing better than you with the title. They also might have a better image. If your image is not a strong image in shopping, I would optimize that as well. Make sure it's clear, make sure it's obvious what your product is. For products in a packaging, a lot of times you want to take your product out of the packaging and have it next to the, for example, like supplements or gummies we see before for that, where like the gummies should be outside the packaging, next to the packaging, so you can see both of those. Highly recommend checking to see what your competitors are doing. If they're beating you, that's a big factor in it as well.
Amazing. Again, if anybody's looking for a paid audit, we are more than happy to conduct them. Again, they take 10 to 12 hours for us to put together. And there's a lot more insights than, just what we shared on this webinar. We of course had to redact a lot of information, specifically due to time. Usually our audits take an hour to an hour and a half to review with you. So please check out the link that we just dropped in the chat. And I think we can move over to Q&A.
Good. Looking at some of the questions I can just take on here. Oscar, I think you're asking about how we can make some optimizations in Merchant Center. Of course, you can make title changes. Again, filling up those titles 150 characters. Your description's also super important, so let's not leave that out. The custom fields are great. because you can essentially categorize a set group of products to have a custom variable in Google Ads for your shopping listing and your product fields, as well as Performance Max. But there are other elements that we've tested through. Your image is super important, right? Let's say you're a supplement brand. Is it the packaging of the brand, or is it to have the packaging plus the powder within the supplement next to it? What are your competitors doing? Like Jake said, your landing pages, right? We do a ton of landing page testing within Google Merchant Center and testing the products driving to different landing pages, closed funnel landing pages, educational landing pages, or just your typical PDP. The number of different tests that you can run side by side with your products in Google Merchant Center.
Psyche, I can jump in. I just saw Caroline asked, do you have best practices in terms of the volume of keywords per Stag's ad groups? I inherited an account with up to 300 keywords in one ad group, which I thought was madness. Definitely madness. I would start by pulling an export of all those keywords and just immediately removing the ones that are not performing well. And that includes ones with low spend. If you want to retest them, break them out into probably another campaign. But just first thing to do is remove a lot of those. I would say we typically don't do more than 10 in an ad. I would avoid, you don't want to do synonyms for keywords. The algorithm is a lot better than it used to be. And it identifies if you're using one keyword, you don't need to do a misspelling of that keyword. You don't need to have a synonym for it. It's pretty good, even with exact match, of capturing everything that is relevant to that keyword. So 10 is typically our max recommendation. We have some that do just run one. The way you look at it is really, how do I want to address this keyword with my ad copy as well as my landing page? And if you need different ad copy to address two different keywords, they need to be in different ad groups. And same with the landing page. The landing page needs to be different for two different keywords. They need to be in different ad groups to accommodate that. But I would say roughly 10 would be about the max.
I believe I saw another question here about from Oscar asking about products in Performance Max, so they're not competing against each other. I mean, technically, when talking to our Google reps, they're not supposed to be competing against each other, but the algorithm picks up whatever is more favorable in auction at that particular time. But for the way that I'm running my campaigns, I'm not trying to get much overlap in product. The performance means that I am segmenting out are from product type. So, for example, we have a kids skincare, hair care brand. I have one for skincare, one campaign for hair care. If there's a particular product set, then I'm breaking it out. I'm removing it from skincare campaign and running the singular product, the duo, and the trio in its own campaign. I'm not trying to get too much overlap, and same thing with the products. But from PMax to shopping, I think there can be overlap just to ensure that you are showing up in what I consider shopping as like the most competitive placement, because you do want to be there when your competitors are. So PMax to shopping can have overlap, but within your Performance Max campaigns, I would try to reduce the overlap.
Yeah, and I saw an AI Max question from Alexandra asking that you noticed that a lot of site links that were created without descriptions. Is there a way to limit AI to only ad creative? There are two features within AI Max when you turn it on that give you options. You can allow it to create its own copy for you, or you can also allow it to decide which landing page you're driving to. More recently, we've been leaving both of these settings on because the algorithm does typically know best. However, obviously, if you're a little bit stricter when it comes to the ad copy or the landing page you're driving to, there are settings within these where you can limit them. You can say, drive to any page on our website except pages that contain this. So for example, a lot of our clients will say it has the freedom to drive to any landing page that it wants to, except if it has the word blog in it. We don't want to be driving to the blog. We want to be driving to a sales page. Or there's a whole collection of pages, maybe we'll exclude those. And there's also, I believe they're now rolling out features to avoid using certain words within the copy that it creates. So I think Google is still working on AI Max. I say use it hesitantly. We have started to use it more successfully, but I think it's still a work in progress. And I do believe that within the next few months, it'll be something that everyone's using. Just like Performance Max went from no one using it and being frustrated with it to everyone, most brands using it now. It's definitely where they're headed with this AI, with these AI features. And so we always want to lean into something that's early in the early stages. I just got another question here. I see Max. What would be the most important things to check, do when a CPA looks too high on an account in order to bring it back down? Kind of a tough question to immediately answer. It depends on a lot of things, but I would say in general, first of all, if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of volume in the short term, definitely raise your targets, target ROAS, lower your target CPA, just to get things under control at first. But then you have to dive deeper and you have to look at what metrics are the problem. Is it that your conversion rate is soft? Is it that your cost per click is too high? Is it that on shopping or Performance Max, your click-through rate is too low and you're not getting clicks from the terms you should be? Are you serving to search terms that are not relevant to your brand? There's a little bit too many pieces that could be happening that you want to look into. But I always say a lot of search ads come back to ad copy, targeting, and landing pages. Performance Max and shopping come back to the product feed and making sure your titles are optimized, your images are optimized, and then that you're serving to the right search terms there as well. Shit. Love it.
Do we have any other questions that we want to go through?
Yeah, I'm seeing one just from Dimitri about Performance Max not essentially being profitable for them, and after they remove the branded keywords. I mean, there's a lot of different that could be the reason why Performance Max isn't working for you. I know something that Jake spoke about was just providing data back to the overall algorithm using non-brand search. So I think if we're also using search to understand where we have the ability to find customers, it's helpful to the overall algorithm and doing a bit better job remarketing users within shopping / display. Also dependent on like understanding, is your Performance Max campaign ensuring that you're targeting the right placements? Like there's a possibility where your PMax campaign is only targeting really display, and display is not going to do a great job of anyone middle to top of the funnel, and it's only going to target those users. It's only going to convert on those users who are typically already users. So not having that insight is a little bit more difficult to answer the question, but I would definitely look where our users, where our Performance Max campaigns are actually targeting. Are we even targeting a product set at all in our product feed? So those are important things to call out first.
There's
maybe why Performance isn't work.
Just kind of jumping in, right? Like everybody's setup and accounts are just so unique, and for us to like really get an understanding and like help each person, like we need to just dive in and spend more times individually. That's really the only way we can help everybody that has very specific questions as to how they should be running on Google, or what's going on with Performance Max for their respective brands. So that's just an important thing to call out. And again, like we've mentioned a few times through the webinar, happy to dive in and provide those details over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Thanks for the DigiCom team. Thank you for our attendees for asking great questions. This was a great webinar. Very engaging, and I learned a lot. It took me back. I'll tell you, and I'm going to date myself here for just a second. I remember when Google AdWords gave you 90 characters. That's it. That's all you had, So all these new features and functionality, I'm like, if I was still managing accounts, it almost seems too good to be true. So thank you for sharing everything. Real quick before we let you all go, tell the people where to find you. I'm going to drop some LinkedIn profiles in here for the team, but yeah, let them know. How can they reach out?
Best way to reach out, feel free to email us directly or visit our website, digicom.io, and just drop us a note. Always, happy to jump on a call, provide any information that we can, and looking forward to hearing from everyone.
Absolutely. So we're going to close this out. Stay tuned for that survey. Let me get these last two links in here. You get the website in here. Make sure you check the handouts tab. We will put that link in your post-webinar email that I have your slides and everything. So I'll see everybody at the next SEJ webinar. DigiCom team, thank you so much for such a great webinar. We'll see everybody next time. Bye, all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.